meeting to order at 5:32 p.m. We'll start with a roll call beginning to my right.
I'm sorry, Maury here.
Thatcher here.
Hollowell, present.
Okay, let the record reflect that a quorum of council is present. If you would all rise for the invocation of the pledge. And Pastor Tommy Green.
Let's pray. Father, we just come before you today, Lord. Thank you that you are a God of all wisdom. Lord, this day as we come before you, Lord, decisions are made in our city, our community. Oh, Lord, I want to pray that you give our city council great wisdom, that lean on you for that guidance. Lord, I also want to pray that as we talk among ourselves about things in our community, I want to pray that we got to do it honor each other. Lord God, that we seek to understand and to listen and understand things before we are to be understood. And so, Lord, I want to pray that you just come. And that, Lord God, your presence will be in this meeting and in that everything we say. I pray that in Jesus' name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Texas.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
I have technical difficulties. We're just going to try to make do till Angie gets back in here. Okay. Don't see that we have any under fours. Let's go to number 5, staff reports. Anyone on staff reports? Okay.
Wanted to give an update on the financials. I gave all of you just a summary. We were having some software issues for the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Our software's been down, so I wasn't able to give you the full packet. The full packet's 40-something pages, but that's a summary we were able to print for you guys. And really what I wanted to highlight for you all, and I'll introduce somebody to you all in just a second, but I am 4 months away from being here 2 years, and in my time here, we have been through 5 different consultants, none of which have been able to get our finances to a place of where we considered caught up. And so I reached out to one of my former colleagues that I've worked with before at other cities, allowed her to just take a peek and to give me an idea as to whether or not she thought that she would be able to do it. I mean, to be honest, I've worked with her before, so I felt confident, but having been through so many consultants, just wasn't really sure. The long of the short is she's been here a little over 2 months, and we are caught up. And so I'm pretty excited about that. And yeah. Usually I have to say which September, this one or 2 years ago, and now I know we're in this year. So anyways, her name is Tanya Austin. I asked her if she would come and speak to you all and just kind of give you a recap of what she's been able to do.
Okay.
Oh, I got, you gotta take that.
Thanks. I'm gonna stand to the side so y'all can see me over it. So first I just want to say I want to empathize with y'all because when Mackenzie kept telling me about all of this, I'm like, come on, how hard can it be? And she says, y'all have said that before. Well, let me tell you, it is. It is. I've been doing this for a really long time, and it starts out being really complex, and then having a lot of hands in the pie, some of which didn't know what they were doing, or just didn't do one or the other. It just kind of created a little bit of a mess. So, as you all know, but the good news is there's kind of light at the end of the tunnel. We're on a very great path of completion. I would say, so we were about two years behind on bank recs of 15 accounts. Some of the accounts are investment accounts, don't have that many entries, those weren't that difficult. That's about the only thing that hasn't been, but those weren't that difficult, but some of the other accounts, as you know, are pretty substantial. So real briefly, about 85 to 90% of the reconciliations on the 15 accounts are done. The only things that are left are through the process of this, I found that of our 3 merchant accounts that we have, only one of them was funding, and the other 2 were not funding for the last 6 months. And in contacting them, they needed updated information from us. They were processing payments, so they were posting into our general ledger, but they were not they weren't coming from the bank, and so it was, I was like, where's our money? So that was about $160,000 that's coming our way. We thought we had it anyway, so it's not 160 more, we're just actually getting it now. So we've gotten 100 of it. The 60 will come probably within the next week. The only other things left are just a few cleanup things that we got to figure out what they're for, and some duplicate items that one person put it in one way and another person put it in another. We just got to clean that up. So by next month, I feel like I can give you some pretty clean financials, and the good news is we'll have a good idea of our cash position, and I think it's going to be better than we thought it was, so that'll be good. Let's see if there's also, as we've gone through and figured out, one of the things that's made it so difficult, the system's a little cumbersome that it goes through, all the different, you've probably heard, how fun FunView is, but it's pretty cumbersome, and because, especially the way the merchant accounts, the 3 different ones, they all post the same, and so trying to get them to merge up and match when there's several entries that match one particular number on one side, we were going through and trying to figure out how to change how they post so we can match them up a lot easier. So I think what we're doing also is finding some fixes along the way, not just getting it caught up, but hopefully trying to create some more efficiencies. So next month, hopefully, I'll be able to bring to you some financial reports that actually make sense and that you can trust, and we'll have gone through the whole process. And so if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer, but I'm glad to bring a little good news. So.
Thank you, Tanya.
Hello, I'm supposed to introduce myself again? Could you just
You
introduce?
have to state your name and address.
I'm Alicia Banks Moore, and my address is 3991 North FM 312 outside of Winnsboro. And I'm actually here on behalf of the Autumn Trails. First of all, we would like to thank the city for everything that y'all have done. Here lately, I've had to call several people within the city just to get information, things that I need to know. Everybody has been wonderful. Also, I would like to thank the fire department for getting Christus on board with our Autumn Trails activities. I would like to thank the police department because y'all just, in all the years that I've been doing this, and I'm 50 years old and I've been doing it my whole life, I think that this was the happiest group of police officers we've ever had. They were smiling, they were happy, they were glad to be helping us, and that is a wonderful thing when we've spent a lot of time and effort getting everything going. to have people that are working there that are supportive too. So between the fire department, the police department, and Chris is coming in and helping, and we had council members that participated in our activities, and I know that a lot of y'all went to town during the arts and crafts and things, and we just appreciate y'all so much. We're bringing in some new stuff next year. We're bringing back the tractor pull. Some of y'all remember it, some of you don't, but there's some big things that are coming back, and we hope that y'all participate, and we do appreciate everything that the city does to help us. So thank y'all.
Thank you.
And if anybody has any questions, just let us know, because we're more than willing to help, and y'all are too, so we're great.
Thank you. Okay, next is Sean Salter.
Hi, Mayor and Council. My name is Sean Salter. I'm with Christus EMS. You need my address. 1123 Rome Hill Road in Bullard, Texas. So first and foremost, it was a pleasure to assist with the Autumn Trails. The one thing, I didn't get a chance to find out is how the hot pepper eating contest went. I have to let you know, as an EMS chief, we did not have anything in our protocols about how to deal with hot peppers. We do now. I wanted to just take a moment and just highlight, I know that at the last council meeting, you received a lot of information about the solar eclipse for April the 8th. I just want to let you know some of the healthcare planning that's going on because of the eclipse. I attended a meeting today in Smith County where we received a couple of projections. They're forecasting that each county in our area will have a doubling of its population. We heard this morning about an Airbnb up in Sulphur Springs that's selling for $30,000 a night. A night, not for the event. So anyway, just incredible. But I want you all to know that, of course, one of the major concerns is the traffic flow along the major corridors of Interstate 20, US 80, and Interstate 30. So part of the Healthcare Coalition efforts that we're working on, we will be pre-deploying a helicopter to Winnsboro on the day of the event, provided that weather cooperates with that plan, and we'll also bring additional ambulance resources along the path of totality. We are also working as Christus Health and in conjunction with a partnership at UT, looking at deploying a mobile medical hospital on the north side of Interstate 20. It may possibly be north of US 80, but we're planning on putting a trauma team and emergency medicine physicians so that if there is any difficulty getting individuals through the congested areas of traffic to Tyler, because of course, Dallas is in the totality zone as well. It's going to be a busy time, but we're working all those plans as we speak. I just thought I would also quickly share with you some things that came up today from one of the briefings that involved a group of individuals who went through this in the Montana and Idaho area back in 2017. Here's some things to be aware of. They had occurrences in many communities where businesses allowed people to get on top of the roofs to observe the totality, and they actually had roof collapses as a result of that. So, obviously search and rescue for those types of events could be complicated. Crowd management, unfortunately, waste management control, individuals, setting up shop in any field but not discarding human waste posed a problem and a risk, obviously, to waterways. And then Public Health Today brief that also, following the last eclipse in 2017, sexually transmitted diseases peaked 2 weeks later for the area. So lots of activities to work on and to plan on, but I wanted to at least give you that quick briefing and see if you had any questions that we could assist you with. All right, thank you.
Okay, now Mr. Joe Stokes.
Joe Stokes, 2441 CR 4200. I want to compliment the city on the work on the water tower. It really does look nice.
We don't have any additional names, so with that, we're going to move on to the consent items. We usually on the consent items, we'll just look as a whole, if everybody had a chance to, most of it was just
second.
Okay, I have a first and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, all in approval?
Aye.
Against, no, so motion carries. Okay, so move on to 8.1. Consider change of pickup services schedule from your public post services. I'd like to
Honorable Mayor, Council, and staff, I'm Gene Keenan with Republic Services in Mount Pleasant. And I assume you have the two options. Did you get a copy of that in writing? So, okay, in case I mess up, then that way you'll know that's not correct. So, I did do the two that I thought would be the most fitting here, but of course that's your decision. And one of them has recycling, one does not. I think you asked me if I knew how many. Right, there's 424 people here that recycle, but the driver said there's only about 100 containers out each week when he goes out, and we're collecting less than a ton a week, so it's not a whole lot. Nationwide, according to Keep America Beautiful, there's only about a 34% participation. That includes cities that have mandatory recycle. In Texas, in our area, we have about a 10%. So you're right in there, kind of close to that 10% on that one. What seems to be the most popular here is the bulk pickup, where we pick up the bulk items at the curb, and of course the trash service. Those two are very popular. So the option one, it includes going to once a week instead of twice a week, and 80% of my contracts are once a week. There's not very many 2-time-a-week trash pickup anymore. And it's funny when people come down here, they move here from California and Chicago or Illinois, they say, who needs 2-time-a-week trash? Are y'all that trashy down here? And so, and actually, the surveys would show that that the first day is always heavy, the second day is not very heavy, and mostly people who forgot to put it out the first day.
Yeah.
So it's more of a convenience, but the wear and tear on the streets I don't know if it's worth the convenience. And of course the cost, I was able to get that cost down really well. We've been here about 3 years now, so by going to, if we make the change and then we go, add 3 years to the contract, that helps me amortize that out. Just like when I bought my last pickup, I had to finance it 7 years instead of 5 because I couldn't afford a payment. But by doing that, I was able to really get the rate down below what even the last city we bid on this service was, because initially when we came in, it cost us about $700,000 in capital to start this contract. Every dumpster is brand new that was set here, as well as the carts and the truck that we used then. So we're still paying that off. And if we go to the lower rate, then that's going to hurt that projection of when we thought we would pay this debt off. So by adding 3 years to what you already had to make it another 5 year, I was able to get that rate down to that number that I showed you there, which is very low right now for this day and time. And your commercial rates, I looked at those too, and your commercial rate, just the 2-yard once a week, is now here is $20 less than the bid 3 companies did in the last city we just bid. So you've got great commercial rates right now. So I didn't have to touch those. So I guess it's up to you if you have any questions about either one of these, or yes.
I just had a question about option 2. Is that basically, as far as frequency, that's half what we get right now, correct?
It's still once a week trash, 2
Oh,
time.
that's right, okay.
Yeah, and then 2 time a month bulk, and then it still has recycle in there, but not every week,
Right, so it's
2
half the
times a
recycle,
month.
yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So, if you're one of those families that think they do need it twice a week, how much would an additional cart be?
They're, I believe they're $4 here. I'm sorry, wait, let me look. I do have it. I did bring that just in case somebody asked me a question. Hold on, I can tell you exactly.
Yeah, that came up last
It's $3. Well, it's $3 what I charge the city. So, you know, the city, I recommend they do markup because there's people who don't pay. They run out and don't pay. So, you know, so it's $3 so if you charge $4, that's still right there. What I'm seeing more and more now is those prices are going to $7. But right now yours is still low. It's half of what most people are charging now. So, and that's exactly what they do, you know. So we're reducing the price. Yes, it's each month. So, you know, we're reducing the rate down on the one time on option one, $7 a month. So they're still coming out ahead by doing that one extra cart.
So if we decide to do either option 1 or 2, when would it go into effect?
I want to be able to notify the citizens and try to make sure. I've got to have some brochures printed up and everything. So I probably need till January because it takes a little while to get those approved and then sent out. And
Well, that's a good starting month, January 1st.
it is, yes, it
Starting
is.
month, yeah.
But I may not want to start at January 1 because this year, I think New Year, see, we only take 3 holidays a year.
Oh, okay.
Thanksgiving,
Yeah,
Christmas,
okay.
and New Year's. And I love it when Christmas and New Year's is on a weekend because I don't
Yeah.
have to do anything.
Right.
But when it's on a Monday, every single one of our routes are delayed by one day.
Right.
And Friday's route is Saturday. So it's real confusing if we make a change and then all of a sudden we don't.
Right.
So I don't want to get into that. So it would be January 8th.
Oh,
That
there
would be
you
the
go.
Monday after
After.
the 1st. Yes, on either one of these. You know.
And I would also give, to get the extra carts out to the people.
Sure, if they,
that need 'em.
yeah, if they think they need them. Now, probably won't be a whole lot of people at first calling. It'll be like after that second, third week they realize that. Yeah. Well, we'll be ready for those and try to get those out as quick as possible. Because I know the animals will get into them if they put the bags out beside it.
Yeah.
And so we don't want to have a lot of that because that was the whole point in going to carts in the first place was for beautification and keeping that litter.
That charge you quoted was the $3, that was $3 more for having 2 pickups a week, is that correct?
No.
No.
No, sir. It's just to have a second cart.
Oh, okay.
Beside your other
Okay.
cart to put your trash in.
All right.
That you normally might, if you have that much trash that you actually put it out 2 times a week, then you'll have that extra cart to go ahead and put that trash in, so it'll be there whenever he does come, he or she comes that one time.
Well, thank you for gathering all this information for
Oh,
us.
Thank you.
absolutely. It did take a little while because it has to go it has to be approved. We have our performa is 78 pages. They know how many quarts of oil we're going to use and everything else. But I guess they have to. That's why we've been in business 60 years, and I've lost track of how many trash companies have come and gone in my 30 years. So, okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would say I like the idea of keeping recycling, doing it less, but I do like the idea of recycling. We recycle, we have 3 recycle bins in our dining room that need to be cheated to the recycle bin. But I would hate to not support recycling. Yes, it is only
option two looks best for me. Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Okay, we're not taking any motions today, you have to do something on Thursday. Little surprised when I came in late, I was rushing.
Probably need to borrow a microphone.
Here it is. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I move that we, accept option 2 for trash pickup.
I second it.
Okay, we have the first and the second for option two. Is there any additional discussion? No? So, all in approve?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes, no, motion carries for option two. Thank you. So that's what I have at 8.2, consider award of construction contract for Texas Parks and Wildlife. So did everybody have a chance to look at this? Is there some questions? Mackenzie, do you have anything to add on this?
Several months back, you all approved our participation in TIPS, which is a purchasing co-op for local governments and actually a lot of other things. And so one of the benefits of being a part of a co-op like that is that when we have big projects like this that have procurement requirements, we're able to select a contractor that is already participating within that organization. And we don't have to do all of the RFP and go through all of the procurement processes. And so the contractor, Red River Recreation, say that really fast 3 times, David Barnes is here, and then also representative from TIPS. I'm so sorry, I don't remember your name. Rick Ogden is also here with TIPS. So if you guys have any questions for them, I've worked with David in the past. You could see from the reference list, he's done projects here at the Winnsboro, Gilmer. He's not a local guy, but he works local. He's joked before that he spends more time in Texas than he does at home. So anyways, they're both here if you have any questions about how TIPS works, or you have any questions about the contract, or what the plan is. I know that they'd be happy to take any questions from you all.
So they're gonna be working on the road on Hope Road. I was trying to figure out what the,
So this is for Lions Park. Am I off? We're on the right.
Is it?
I'm right.
You're
Texas
right.
Parks and Wildlife. Okay.
You're right.
This is for the Texas Parks and Wildlife
Yes,
project. So this is the park at Lions Park. So we'll be resurfacing the tennis courts, and they will be pickleball friendly. They will be tennis friendly. And then I spoke with David about putting in basketball goals also. So it'll be kind of a multi-sport court there. The other thing is we'll be replacing the playground that is there. Just in case anyone's wondering, we did talk to the family. Public Works was able to get into contact with the family who originally the dedication for that park. They understand, they're okay with it. So we just want to make sure that we respected their feelings in this transition into new playground equipment. The other thing that we'll be doing is putting shade structures over all of the bleachers. I was once a parent of baseball, softball, and I felt that they would truly appreciate having some shade structures over those bleachers. And something that's unique that David does with his shade structures is they're not your traditional shade, that's hard to say too, shade structures. They're very high quality. What he does is very, very high quality. So I'm not concerned about the infrastructure or the wind tearing them up or anything like that. The trade-off for the shade structures is the sidewalk. So there will be a sidewalk that connects from the entrance to the playground, from the entrance to the concession stand and to the ball fields. But the original plan for the sidewalk to go around the parks, the trade-off was to not do that part and to add the shades instead.
I think it looks great. I'm excited. We don't need that sidewalk right now. Yeah.
Any questions for David or?
Well, what is the timeframe of starting it?
Well, Texas Parks and Wildlife you said to start it. David? Let me
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I've been in contact with Matthew Mears. He is your representative from Texas Parks and Wildlife. And there's some things we have to do first. the shades. There's a stormwater permit that has to be completed, which he told me to help you with that. He said the one we did for Gilmer was perfect, and I can help you with that. So there's some preliminary stuff before they give the okay to go ahead. So if you approve this today, I'll work with your city administrator and get all those things done for you.
What are the shade structures made out of, the material?
The shade structures are made out of steel, powder-coated steel for the frame, and high-density polyethylene. And they're made out of, which I think is the best shade manufacturer, is Modern Shade out of Austin, Texas. I do these all over the state of Texas and Oklahoma and Arkansas. They've got 115-mile-an-hour wind rating, and it's a really good product.
You have any idea how long they last?
So warranty, I believe, is 20 years on the fabric, and the steel, it's not going to go anywhere until we're all gone. So
Yeah, sure.
the warranty on the fabric, I believe, is 20 years.
Okay. Thank you.
I think to make it really quickly also, because Public Works is here, and I want you to know that I asked you about this. We talked about the concrete and how that's gonna work for maintaining.
Which is,
Public Works.
did I meet one of you the other day? Sorry. No, maybe so. Okay. So, yeah, the concern was that you want the concrete to not interfere with your mow. So, yeah, we can put the top of the surface at grade, so that won't be an issue for other mowers to run over. That's not a problem. Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion or? Okay.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion that we award the construction contract for the Texas Parks and Wildlife Grant as presented.
Second.
Okay. We'll go right to second. Okay, we have a first and a second. Is there any additional discussion? Okay, all in approval then?
Aye.
Any against? No? Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, and I've got to drive forward, so I'm going to depart from y'all.
Oh, yes,
Okay.
sir.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, drive safe.
Be careful in this rain.
It's wet out there.
Okay, so next we're going into 8.3, consider extension of the 380 agreement with Winnsboro City for the Arts.
Mary White, 9502 representing Winnsboro Center for the Arts. So, we are requesting an extension of our 380 agreement that we made with the city 3 years ago when the city also granted us the property on Market Street so that we could expand the Arts Center and stay within the Cultural Arts District. We are asking for a 2-year extension. There is a clause majeure in the agreement, and we would offer that the pandemic was certainly longer and had further ramifications than anyone ever anticipated. We are back on track now. We have plans, and we're really excited about it. So I would like to take this opportunity to tell you or give you an update on the plans before we talk further about the agreement, if that's all right. So we do have a master plan. We've had that from the beginning. The master plan includes building a performance hall, building an education building, and renovating our existing building at 200 Market Street. Initially, we were planning to start with the performance hall, but as times passed and things happened, we've now decided that we'd prefer to start with the education building. And so that's our current plan. I think there's several good reasons for that. Some of those are, well, first of all, by building education first, we won't displace our current educational activities. Currently, all of our educational activities are at the Annex Learning Center, which is at 212 Market Street, and that would allow them to continue while we build. We've also started a new ceramics program at the educational building there, and that has taken off well, and we really need more space for all of those activities. The education building is, relatively speaking, it's simpler and easier to build, less expensive than the performance hall, and we're acutely aware that it has been longer than anticipated, and really think it's important for the city and for us to go ahead and take action and break ground. And with this plan, we should be able to break ground in 2024, and we're really excited about that. I was just going to mention, too, that thinking about the performance hall, there is some uncertainty about the financial planning on that. It's mostly a good thing. You may recall that several years ago, we applied for hazard mitigation grant under the Texas Department of Emergency Management. And so much time went by that we assumed that it was dead in the water. But this past August, we actually heard from the TDEM saying that our grant had been forwarded to FEMA for review. So this was one of those that we had worked with Traylor and Associates, who, as you know, are one of the best grant writers in the state. And so when I asked them what they thought this meant, they were really encouraging and saying, oh, this is very good as long as you can meet the requirements that they put forth, that there's a very good chance that we would fund it. But of course, it's still not funding, so we don't know. Now, that was in August, and so in preparation for this meeting, I contacted our TDEM representative, hoping that maybe we could get a little more specific information. But the response was, things are complicated with FEMA. It could be a few weeks, or it could be a few years. And hopefully that was an exaggeration, but it could certainly be another year. So if we go ahead and start with the education building, hopefully we will find out about the grant. And ideally, we'd build the education building and then go immediately forward with the performance hall. The nice thing about Market Street is that all the lots on that street are 25 by 100, so it's easy to flip-flop, move things around. So let's see. Can you go to the master plan first? It's not really so important. We can go back to it. That's the master plan. And I think you have that in your packet, and I apologize, but your eyes have to be much better than mine to be able to read what's what. So, don't worry about reading it. I'll just show you. Just to get an overview. So this is our current building at 200 Market. This is the restaurant there in between. This is where the new education building would go. There's two of those squares there. And then the new performance building would go just north of that. And that actually puts the performance hall more centrally located in Market Street. So I think that would be a really nice presentation there. Back when we were talking with you and others about building on that space, there was some concern that there would no longer be a walkway through the alley or that area. So, of course, with the FEMA situation, all that's a little uncertain, but we are trying to leave a walkway between the education and the performance hall, at least on the ground floor. The plan would be to connect them upstairs. So, what I'll show you now, we can go on to the, when you head there. Okay, so this is the ground floor of the education building. This is Market Street over here, so here's the entrance. So, you go in to the left, you have a gift shop gallery, and then on the right, this is a children's activity area. The plan would be to have that open on Saturdays for children to come in and do various projects. Of course, you have some classes, maybe birthday parties, things like that as well. But then, going on in, the main part of the downstairs would be devoted to ceramics and glasswork. So this would be a separate room for mosaics and stained glass. But this would be a large wheel room. This also development room, something like that, and utility sinks. This would be electric kilns, and then we plan to have one gas kiln, which would be outside in the alleyway, and that would be mixed in. So we're thinking that, because ceramics, they're very popular. Everybody enjoys it. It's therapy to work with clay and all. At the same time, the equipment needed for that is quite expensive. So we really think that this might be a good niche for Winnsboro to build on. So that would be the downstairs. And then the next one. Okay, so upstairs, again, this is Market Street. rehearsals. They could potentially rehearse up there until, just before the play, things like that. We also have private music lessons. So here are a couple of music classrooms. These are independent study areas. We also want to develop an artist residency program, because we think that's how we get a lot of our expertise here, would be to have artists come in and stay for a few weeks, a few months. It varies depending on the medium they're working in, and that would be some space to work. This is, underneath this is the alleyway, and I forgot to say when we were on the first floor, but we talked before about having an outdoor stage, and so, actually, can you pull it down just a little bit? Make it just a little bit smaller. There we go. So this would be an outdoor covered stage. This is all open. Here's the kiln area. These are stairs that we have to have a second egress, and by putting it here in this area, it could serve both buildings, so that would cut down on the expense a little bit. Now, it's possible they may move over here. The ceramics people want more light, so we go back and forth, but right now that's where they are. But then, go back to the other one. Upstairs would be connected. So this could probably be an ensemble room. This could be storage. It's not really determined yet. That couldn't really happen until we have the other building and we connect them. But I'm really excited about it. Everyone is that we've talked with. I just think this is going to really increase the activity on Market, and I think it's going to be a great step forward. I want to make sure that I say that we really appreciate the city's support that we've had all along. And of course, just recently, the Cultural Arts District grant that removed the utilities from the alley. We could not begin to do this until that happened. So we really appreciate that that work has all been done. Let's see, what else? You'd probably like to know a little bit about fundraising. I think that's going reasonably well. The education building, if you estimate the cost at $250 a square foot, which I think is fairly standard for these buildings now, it comes out to $2.5 million. So from our earlier fundraising, we already have approximately $1.5 million. So we're really talking about raising $1 million to build education. Early in October, we had an anonymous donor step up and do a match challenge. So she will match all donations up to $150,000 up until December the 15th. So we were really excited about that. We feel that that gives us some momentum. Pardon me?
Has she had to match anybody? Has anybody made a donation for her to match?
They have. We have about $60,000 in the bank so far since the 1st of October, and we have pledged another $50,000 donation, and I think there's another 10 coming as well. So it's really encouraging. We need to be out there and make a lot of noise, but I think that people are excited about it. And we had a presentation at one of our recent meetings, and I think $1 million sounds like a lot of money, and it is a lot of money. But if you break it down, if you can just have a few gifts at, say starting 100,000, maybe 250 or so, then, the little donors are really important. If you have 200 gifts at $100 each, that can, that makes a difference. It's $20,000. So.
What's the cost of the auditorium going to cost? Like, what is the cost?
Forgot to mention that. Currently, it's about $4.5 million. This grant that we're excited about is $3.5 million.
That's the one we're waiting on to see if FEMA's going to help?
Yes, yes. And I know it will be.
How much have we raised for that?
Well, the total fundraising that we've done so far is about 1.5.
So you're short for the classroom and then still short $4.5 million for the auditorium.
Sure. So, but
What's the cost of the lot? Do we know what the value of the lot
it was
is?
valued at $30,000.
The lot on Market Street was valued at $30,000?
Yes, that was the assessed value.
And Was that a appraised value, or was that a value that we?
No, it was an
administrated?
appraised value when the city took it from the previous owner. That's stated in the agreement.
What are the number of students that you have that participate in your summer camps?
In the summer camps, we have very close to 100. I think it's slightly under.
Is that 100 individual students, or is
Mhm.
that 100 total from attendance? So like one student may be counted multiple times if they attended multiple camps.
If they attended multiple camps, that could
So
be
they could be counted 3 times. if they
right, but most don't. I mean, we have a few who attend multiple camps, but it's really a large group
100 class students for classes
for summer camps.
for summer camp.
Now, we also have private music lessons,
So how many students take privately?
approximately 20.
About 20, so
Yes.
not
And
120 students yet. What about other adult classes? How many adult programs are we offering?
right, we have painting classes, and we have, I believe, 2 of those are ongoing currently, and probably, the maximum these rooms can hold is about 12. So
So how many people show up to painting class?
they're fairly full, anywhere from 5 to 12, I would say, and that's on a weekly basis.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then what other classes do we offer?
We have ceramics classes.
And roughly how many folks are coming to that?
Some of those you can only have a maximum of 4 because we don't have the space.
Okay.
But,
So are 4 people showing up?
yes.
Okay. So we're roughly not even at 150 people utilizing classroom space.
But we also have workshops, and those are very popular. They take place on Saturdays, and
Roughly how many people are showing up to workshops?
again, the room is limiting, so anywhere from 4
How
or
many
5.
people have
to-
you had to turn away from workshops because of limited space?
I don't know a number, but we have had some that we do.
Okay. So
Mhm.
occasionally we turn away 1 or 2 people to a workshop?
That's true.
Okay.
But our whole plan is to really build on this. I mean, we only started education about 2 or 3 years ago, and it's been really impressive that it has grown to this point.
I've taken art classes from the Art Center 20 years ago, a long time ago. So I'm not saying this as I love coming to the place, the
Okay.
Art Center. My next question is, what have we done to the current Art Center to accommodate classroom sizes or to accommodate new auditorium?
Well, the current art center at 200 Market is very functional, and our concerts are there. They hold the standard seating is 88 seat. Where we are challenged is when we have the more well-known artists come in. Our ticket prices are pretty high because we're so limited on the numbers there.
And so have we done anything to the current facility to try to increase numbers? I know we split the wall. There's a partition there that could open up more seating if we did some rearranging, redesigning.
That would take away from the art exhibits, and the art group complains that they don't have enough space. So ideally, that building would become a gallery area.
So my question is, we're sitting at $7 million worth of an art center that we've raised not even a quarter of the money, even with the grants that we hope to get, for a donation of land that we haven't seen anything being utilized for. Very few activities have been out.
We have an art and wine festival out there tomorrow.
I know of the things that are coming out there, but there's been very limited things to draw the community into that facility over the last 3 years.
I would disagree.
What facility are you talking about? The existing art center?
Just the space, the existing art center. I'm just not seeing the need to spend $7 million
I would, but
on a facility that is helping less than 100 students in our community
that's
per
not
classroom.
true.
No,
That's not true.
That's not.
No. We have approximately 10,000 people come through the art center on an annual basis.
So yearly.
Yes, that's for concerts,
Mhm.
classes, workshops, plays, and our theater
Special
program now is
events.
growing too. And, the goal is to build that into really a regional collaborative group. Dr. John Price here is doing great things with
I'm
that.
just struggling wrapping my head around $7 million for a facility that I don't feel like we've utilized the facility we have in terms of.
I would love to give you a tour.
I've been there. I've sat in
But
there.
you said 20 years ago. It's
No,
changed
I've
a little bit.
sat in there for plays recently and concerts. I'm very active in showing up to the Art Center for activities. But I'm just not seeing the impact that the Art Center has made on the existing building to be gifted a very viable, very nice piece of property in our community that has, I mean, we haven't even raised a small percentage of what we're hoping for, and putting all of our eggs into a governmental grant that.
But let's do this
we're all
piece
questioning.
by piece. I mean, we have to be progressive. We have to think about the future.
I agree, and we haven't done anything to update and modernize the facility that you already have.
Oh,
to
yes, we have.
accommodate.
Hey, if you
Yes,
looked
it
at the
has.
art gallery, we've moved walls around. They're now carpeted, so it's much easier to hang exhibits. Just recently, we actually had a juried art exhibit.
I've
people
been to
from
the
all
art
over the
exhibit.
state.
I like the art center. I'm not denying in that. I'm just to be gifted land to build a facility that is massive and nice and wonderful and all the right pieces. I just don't see our community utilizing a $7 million facility when we're not even maxing out the facilities that we have.
You are maxing it out. We have no space for classes and
That's the
workshops
whole
in our
problem.
main building.
It's
We used to.
maxed out. The only limitation the Art Center has right now, Mary, if I'm correct, is the limited space, right?
Right.
You have 212 Market Street now, the annex, which is how old? It's been in operation for almost
3
2
years
years,
since
3 years.
2020.
It's maxed out, right? All the classes, all the workshops, all the concerts almost. Every time you go and there's an event, it's maxed out. There is no more space.
No. And I'm not saying that it's not. I'm just, the big picture to me is that we've been sitting on a vacant lots for 3 years. We've done fundraising, I'm not denying that, but very little fundraising in the total scheme of $7 million. And hoping on grants that, even as you said, are very wishy-washy in terms of if we'll know within the next month or years.
Well, the education building, we're confident that we have that funding, that will happen.
And even if that was all that happened was phase one.
That's right. That's
you-
still, and I
you've
think
lost
that
nothing.
will, I think you would see from that
would be
the
a huge-
economic
And so
impact that
what
will
are the
have.
classrooms drawing? I know the concerts and the plays draw in a lot. Y'all have great concerts. I've been to some that I really enjoy. What are the classrooms bringing in terms of bringing people into our community, spending money in our community, generating economy in our community? Because if we're hosting summer camp with less than 100 students, that's not even one grade's
That's the
worth of.
capacity. They are full every year. We have no more space.
Mary, what would if you remember, what was the cost of the proposed building prior to the pandemic?
We were saying approximately 5 million.
Okay.
I think it was 4.5 when we were advised to just go ahead and say 5 because things always add up. So
So the real issue is, did the pandemic cause the 2-year delay?
I think it was,
You're
yes.
not even at $1.5 million. I don't think we can blame the lack of $1.5 million wouldn't put us any closer to 5 million than much closer than it
The
does.
So I'm just
agreement
saying
says
it's-
that we had to spend at least $1.5 million on a building. We're prepared to do that.
But
The only thing is the time.
You're not prepared
you
to
know.
build a building worth $1.5 million. You're trying to build a building worth $2.5 million.
The 1.5 was put in there as a minimum to ensure that whatever went in there could make the city proud, that would be representative of downtown.
I'm just not seeing the art center generating the economy on Market Street that I feel another business could come in, another individual could open a business to generate the economy in this community,
What
whereas
about all the vacant places we have now where no one's coming in and entering a business?
then why do we have to build a $2.5 million facility for the art center when they could take over a facility that could be much cheaper and open up a,
We haven't been allowed to take those over.
I know, and that's what I'm saying, so
They're not owned by the city or the art center.
look,
Right.
they have $1.5 million, they could go buy one. Why do they
I
have to
would
be
just say
gifted
that,
to by
you
the
know-
community? We already give, we gift a lot of things. I don't understand why our community is gifting property that we could be making money off of. The Art Center is very capable of raising money to purchase land that can generate economy in this community versus, and that's what we want individuals to do.
But for the purpose of tonight's agenda item, it's not whether or not to gift. It's already been done.
It's whether or not to extend.
To extend,
And
and
that's what
that
I'm saying.
depends upon whether there's a force majeure.
And to me, I don't feel that we should extend the agreement because I don't see that there's been enough progress made into building that facility. I personally don't support the facility because I don't think our community looks at the arts the way that you look at the arts center. And I love the arts. I'm an avid museum
We
attendant.
see all sorts of different people at the Arts Center. I mean, our goal is to serve the community, and that's a diverse group.
I would beg to
Aaron, do you
differ.
have, for example, any type of statistics of out-of-town visitors? Councilman King is focusing on Winnsboro, the community, the citizens of Winnsboro. What about people that come from outside of Winnsboro and come in and eat at the restaurants and come see a show or something like that? Do you have any numbers like that?
Our cowboy poetry event would be a great example. Now, I don't know in terms of statistics, but certainly because we sell tickets to these events through Eventbrite, we have all the information on where people are coming from. And cowboy poetry is still relatively small, but if you look at the information on who's coming in, the majority of those people are coming from further than 100 miles away, if not from other states. You know, I think, so our goal is to grow that event because we think that will be really important for economic development. The Art and Wine Festival tomorrow, or this weekend, the largest crowd we've had for that was 6,000 people, and that was year before last. Now, it's been growing steadily over the years. Last year was difficult because the weather was horrible. But we've really invested in marketing, and we're hopeful that we'll see those 6,000 people over these 2 days. And Winnsboro really has quite a reputation. We actually made the calendar in the Dallas Morning News for this event this weekend. So, you know, these are long-term investments, and you know, I would offer that the arts are a really important aspect of cultural development, both, you know, for individuals as well as for a community. You know, you look at the communities that are so successful, they have strong arts programs. I think that's really important for Winnsboro. I think we've come so far. We've made a major investment. I think to cancel it at this point, I think Winnsboro would be dead in the water.
I disagree, but and to go off of what Randy said, I would like to speak on that in terms of attending events. I think that we have more people from outside the city attend the Art Center events than people inside the city, which is another issue that I would like to bring up. What are we doing to market to the Winnsboro community? Because when I attend the Art Center for concerts and I attend the Art Center for the poetry event, which I thoroughly enjoyed, I see more people from out of town. What are we doing to, you say, bringing arts into a community helps the community, but I don't see the Art Center promoting to the community of Winnsboro to the point that they did a tour, a fundraiser outside of Winnsboro, and I didn't get invited or see an invite in the newspaper or on our website to a fundraiser event here in our community to get our own community to support the Art Center. The Art Center quickly goes outside of our community to get support. However, the
I
city
don't
has
believe we had a
supported
fundraiser outside of the city. The recent event was for members, and
Okay.
so if you were a member, you were invited.
But was
But-
there not an event that was held in Fredericksburg that I read about
No,
or
that's
something?
the Cowboy Poetry Gathering. That's Fredericksburg's Cowboy Poetry Gathering.
Okay, so I must have misread that, and I apologize for misspeaking there.
But I would,
But I would like
you
to
know,
know what the marketing is to our community, what the marketing is to our community, our citizens, our children in our schools. What are we marketing our classrooms
That's
to?
right.
What are we marketing to the people that hang out on Market Street? I have spoke to some of the businesses downtown, some that have concerts downtown. The the relationship with the Art Center and them is not great. And I'm just not seeing what the Art Center has done to bring Winnsboro into the Art Center as much as they've tried to bring Lake Cypress and the outside of Winnsboro to the Art Center.
I think on the one hand, well, let's start with the summer camps. Those are at least 90% local. The tuition for a week of summer camp is $50. That's cheaper than daycare, and we also have a scholarship program. So any child who is interested in coming to camp is able to attend, and that's well known. We share that. We sometimes, because schools, they have busy schedules too. We have been working to increase our interaction with them. Our book festival the last 2 years would be a good example of how we have been more successful. This past year, we actually paid to bring in a children's author. He spent Friday in the public school, and then on Saturday we had special children's activities all morning, and I think we had over 100 children come to the book festival. We've met with the theater director there. We're trying to work some collaborative projects there. They have busy schedules too, so we have to work to find the right programs to support them. But our goal is to enhance the school's program because they are limited on funds.
And then what about for community members? What does the Art Center do to increase involvement from Winnsboro citizens into the Art Center?
Okay, I would say one of our more successful events recently has been the open mic night that attracts, there are a number of people, local people, who come just to listen because it's free music. In fact, one of the, I'm always, trying to reach out and see how these things are going. And one time I was sitting here in city council meeting and I overheard these people talking right behind me. And they said, "Oh, have you been to that open mic yet? Oh, it's really fun. You ought to come." And I had no idea who they were. And that to me was so gratifying. And yes, we need to strengthen our marketing. We need to do more of that. But that is our goal, to serve the community.
Well, thank you. I think I've made my point. I just don't see the validity of a $7 million art center in downtown Winnsboro, 3,500, 3,800
Although
people.
you're fine with a $6 or $7 million football stadium.
Not at all. I didn't say that, so I actually am offended by hearing that. But I don't, and I don't think that there's the support of the community for a $7 million art center as well. And I think I would be more supportive of it. I just don't feel like the art center has done an adequate job of bringing the community into the art center. But yes, please.
So, on the agenda item that we are here to discuss, we're asking for a 2-year delay. So when I'm reading this here, it's saying that for the educational building, the right ground would be 2024.
Right.
So that technically would not mean a 2-year delay on that building.
We hope not, but that would be to be safe so we wouldn't have to come back again in the middle of building.
And what is holding us back on, what's holding back on breaking ground for the classroom?
For the education building?
Yes.
I really wanted to offer that our goal would be mid-May. We have our book festival outside in May, and we really have no other place to have that, so I'd certainly like to do that first. Our architect advised against it because, first of all, we have to have 80% of the funding set to get contractors to work with us seriously, and we have to go out to bid and get that lined up. He also mentioned the issue of all the permitting that has to be done for the building, and you may know more about that than I do, but it's not something I've investigated yet. So, he has a lot of experience, and so to defer to him, I will just say 2024. But we're eager to do it, and I hope it will be late May or soon after.
Okay, so at this point, and I didn't interrupt you,
Thank you.
at this point, we need to just strictly discuss now the 2-year, whether we're going to grant the 2-year or not.
I move that we don't grant the 2-year extension to the art center. You can fail that from a lack of a second.
Someone can second it, the vote can go either way. Just because you second it doesn't mean that you're in favor of the motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a motion.
My motion fell from a lack of second, so that's the motion.
It needs to be announced.
I know, that's
Hang
why
on,
I'm.
hang on.
Oh,
You
wait a
have,
minute.
you have a failed motion, so it didn't go any further. You have an active motion and a second on the floor, so now we have a point for discussion.
Okay. Are we all clear where we are? Okay, so the motion at this point is to accept the 2-year delay, and it's been seconded. So now, is there any additional discussion?
The only thing that I can, reading this agreement, 'cause I wasn't on the council when this agreement was proposed. I am a very strong supporter of arts and culture. I do think that space is a limiting factor in growing. I do feel that given the force majeure clause in the contract, that the 2-year term of the official pandemic could be an arguable point to extend this for 2 years. Of course, there was, what did you say? The completion timeline or the completion deadline was originally in the agreement for 3 years, and then we all know what happened right after the agreement was signed in 2020. At that point, the Arts Center, like every other theater company and public place in the state, shuttered. They had nothing coming in, but still had to pay the bills. Personally, I feel that in this instance, the force majeure clause would be proper and correct for no more than 2 years.
I would just like to reiterate that I'm not for the extension, and I think that we, yes, can give COVID some of the blame for that. However, we're still sitting extremely low, hanging our hats on grants, government grants, and funding to come in to help support this without any viable source of funding other than what we know of the woman who will match. Up to 150, I believe is what you said, 150,000, is that correct? We'll match up to 150,000, which would still leave us very, 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 very short of where we're at, of what they need to break ground and begin building.
Mary, can you come back to the microphone? So that way everybody in the interwebs can hear you.
At this point, we're really only talking about the education building. We're hoping the rest will happen, but that will depend on a number of factors. This is 2.5 million. We have 1.5. We have a match for 150. That would be 300. That means we only lack $200,000 of having 80% of the funding, which is what's required. I think we can do that.
Thank you.
And it doesn't cost us anything to do the extension, correct?
I think it does cost us things. It costs us an opportunity to have a new business to move in that has their funding concrete now, ready to go to open a new business on Market Street. It gives us the opportunity to sell that land for a profit, and I would assume that adjusted appraisal would be more than $30,000.
I think the land's already been granted.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been
Yes,
granted.
may I just make a clarification there? The agreement states that we would have to repay the city the $30,000 it was assessed at. So that would just up what we have to raise. We do not have to give the land back.
Okay.
Any additional discussion? We were not during you were not on putting on the comments, so I'm sorry.
I just feel like the art center is the heart of our town.
I understand it, I'm sorry, I can't. Sorry.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay, so motion carries. Okay, 8.3, consider, 8.4, consider approval of WDC action authorizing hotel feasibility study. Would you like to speak on this, Mackenzie?
The WEDC approved a contract with Retail Coach who has been doing our recruiting efforts for economic development, and then you all also accepted their recommendation to approve that contract. They have really hit the ground running as part of their recruiting efforts. We have a couple of hotels that are interested in coming to Winnsboro. We are told that hotels will not look at us if we don't have this hotel feasibility study. We did have one in 2018. I was told that having a new one would be $15,000 because of inflation. So I went back to that company and said, how much to just revise the one we already have? So I'm getting it for 50%. It'll be about $7,000 to update our hotel feasibility study. There's about a 3-week turnaround time for them to get us the information that we need so that we can get it back to the hotels who are interested in coming here.
Okay,
So
these funds will be coming from the EDC.
That's correct, yes, ma'am.
Did everybody have a chance to?
What is the EDC's thought on hotels? Like, what are what do they see coming? Like one hotel? Are they trying to recruit 2 hotels into coming into the town? Like, what is the EDC's vision of the hotels?
I think their primary vision is just simply the need. I don't know that, I think the general feeling is just we'll kind of take what we can get, but there's just a need. When we have these larger events, our VRBOs and our local places just can't keep up with what we have. We're fortunate to have some really great ones here. They just don't really feel the need entirely, and so I think the general is just that there's definitely a need there. I did speak with Retail Coach about that, and they said typically for a city our size, we would be doing really good if we got one.
And we're having a lot of, at these events, people coming from out of town to these events end up having to go stay in
That's
Sulphur
right.
Springs or Mount Vernon. And
So they eat there,
that,
they spend
that
there.
money's going somewhere else besides here, and plus the sales tax dollars that are generated from all of that.
I move that we consider the approval of the WEDC's action authorizing hotel feasibility study.
I'll second.
You said you're moving to consider. Are you moving to approve it?
I'm moving to approve the WEDC. I'm sorry, I was reading the word consider.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Is there any further discussion? Okay, all for?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. 8.5, consider change in employee retirement plan.
Mackenzie, you're up.
She was waiting on an invitation.
So currently, we are a 25-year city, which means you can't retire till you've been here 25 years and 60 years old. And this is something I just want to say, it's very, very important to the staff that you all, really have good conversation about this and ultimately support it. We're fortunate to have some really skilled laborers here that have been with us and been loyal to the city through everything that they've been through. And so I got with TMRS, and essentially the long of the short is we have 2 options. One of them, really the consideration that the driving point in the dollar amounts of the 2 options is whether or not we want to consider a retroactive COLA or a non-retroactive COLA. So the non-retroactive COLA is our most affordable option. It would be an increase of $8,019 annually, which is really small when you're talking about the level of contributions that we do every year through TMRS. The COLA, if we just stuck with what we currently have, which is the retro COLA contributions, it would cost us about $16,000. The monthly difference to the retirees is anywhere between $2 and $5 a month difference. And so that's kind of the difference is $2 and $5 a month if we do the non-retro, which saves the city $8,000. Or we can stay where we're at, but I really hope that that's not not the direction you guys would wanna go.
You said the, one's 8,000, one's 16, is that per employee or is that annually, one
That's-
time, the city's,
No, it would be annually, year over year.
okay. But it's not per employee, it's.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. Essentially, we're having to catch up and pay the difference for the 5 years that we would be allowing them to retire sooner.
And maybe I didn't grasp, what is the retroactive benefit versus the non-retroactive benefit to the employee?
So the retroactive COLA, what it does is it looks at it's essentially like an audit. They go back since the day that since the person retired every year, and they see, was there anything left on the table with COLAs? Kind of an audit. If there was anything left on the table, then they get that no matter what. Every year they're checking backwards to see if there's been any COLA money left on the table for that retiree. If we do the non-retro COLA, you just get what you get. We're not looking backwards to see if you've left anything on the table. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
And personally, I think the retroactive COLA for the retirees would be the most beneficial to benefit the employee. from
It's
the way
gonna
it
cost us
sounds.
$16,000 a year more, and it's gonna benefit the employee $2 more a month, between $2 and $5 more a month.
So for 16,000, the employee gets two.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So we wanna change,
What I'm asking is to, I think my recommendation would be that we go to a 20-year city with the non-retro COLA. And we do have staff members here if anybody wants to speak to them. I don't know if they're prepared, but.
James, you're back there
They're
shaking your
here.
head. Come on up.
Tell us how you feel about it, James.
What are your
Tell us how you feel about it.
I'd like for it to happen. Every city, from what I've seen, every city around us besides one other is 20 years.
Now, wait, before you go any further, how many years of service do you have with the city right now?
That's what, I got 22.
Oh, you've got 22 years of service.
But, you know, I'm not looking to retire.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean.
I don't think Melanie would let you.
No, I can't afford to, so, but, that was just, you know, it's just nice knowing that, you know, 2 and 20 years that you're eligible for retire if you wanted to leave and do something else, or if you wanted to work and go to work for another city, or, you know, it's just something nice to, you know, a few of us have been here for many years, and we went through a lot of different people and a lot of different changes, and I know several times myself, I thought I'm ready to leave this place, you know, but I stuck it out, you know, so.
So James, if we do this, can we get it from you in writing that you are not going anywhere?
I'm not going, I promise you, I'm not going nowhere, so.
I need that in writing.
Councilwoman Thatcher, the meeting's recorded, it is a public record.
I'm not going nowhere, no.
we got it on record.
So, but, yeah, I would really like to see it, go to 20 years instead of 25. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
I see a couple of our other employees back there. Skip, I'm gonna pick on you.
Of course, Skip Parker, City of Winnsboro. Yeah, we were looking around at some of the other cities, and that was one of the things that was, one of the comparisons that we looked at, and, I really feel like it's a good thing. It's a little bit better even for some of the employees coming up too, you know, you're gonna have some of the younger people coming up. It's a good incentive to keep people here. And, like James said, we put a lot in, so we don't plan on going anywhere. It's just nice to know that, you know, the city's backing the guys that have been here a long time too, and something that we can do to reassure those guys coming up that they got something to look forward to as well, so.
And help recruit.
It does help a lot. It will help with employer retention, I promise you it will. It's a big deal. It really is. Especially when we're talking people within driving distance are doing the same thing. So it's a driving force for different people. So, anything else?
That was it.
Are you gonna let Chad off the hook, or are we gonna?
No, Chad, come up next and give it. How many years of service?
21.
Okay.
And, you know, I've been pushing this even since the last administration. I mean, we have an above average town and below average retirement. And I think it's important.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Madam Mayor, if you're ready, I'd like to make a motion to go to
Ready.
a 20-year city with a non-retro COLA.
Second?
Okay, any additional discussion? Okay, all in approval?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And I will say, as a city, we do have some of the most dedicated
Yes, we do.
employees. You know, I can't tell you the number of times when we'd have a water break or main break, and the first person dive head first in the hole is Skip. For some reason, I don't, in 12-degree weather, Skip's down there playing in the water.
We all drove by and feel so sorry for you.
Thanks for bringing the drinks, man.
Chad's standing out there going, that looks cold.
Okay, so let's go, move on to 8.6. Consider change to rental section fee schedule. This has to do with things go on at the Civic Center, different items. Did everybody get a chance to see all of them?
I move that we change the rental section and fee schedule for, city rental.
I second.
Okay, is there any additional discussion?
Should we go over it real quick just so that everybody knows, like, what the plan is? I mean,
That should have been done before you made the motion.
actually, it should, it goes in between the debate, which is after the motion is made technically. I mean, I'm just saying that I think we just changed the fee rentals so that it doesn't have to come before the board every month. There's set rules in terms of if you're a nonprofit, what can be waived, what can't be waived without having to come before the council to get those fees waived to use those facilities. We just had decided some rules on that, so that we could fast line that process so that those folks who are asking for, those fee waivers and things would not have to wait to come before the board. They could deal with that all through the office. Did I miss anything on that? I didn't go through the process, but.
So your motion's to approve as presented?
Yes.
Okay? Any further discussion? Okay, so all in approval?
Aye.
Any opposed? No, so the motion carries. And I would encourage anyone to go on our website when these are all uploaded to new fees and just take a glance and look at them to help streamline this for y'all as well. 8.7, consider ballot section for Franklin County Appraisal District Board of Directors. Do we all get a chance to look at this?
I don't know a single person.
So we're supposed to split up these 60 votes among these
Or we
people?
don't have to, on this, we don't even have to vote on it if we don't.
Oh, we don't?
No. We don't have to. We can if we choose to. It's hard because I don't know any of these people.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with these people as well.
And why do we have 60 votes on Franklin County's?
We're,
Population
Appraisal?
size on the Franklin County side.
Yeah, because we have some of
Part of the
Winnsboro's
city's
in Franklin County. Have we ever tried to get a Winnsboro resident on the Franklin County board?
That's handled by the appraisal district, not by
Yeah,
us.
that's what that's not.
We have no say.
We have no say, okay.
So do y'all just wish to abstain from voting or? Anybody?
We have to put that up for vote?
No.
We don't have to do anything? Just let it die? Yeah.
Is everybody in agreement?
I said, I just love people who are uninformed about things.
Yeah,
like the grand scheme of
exactly.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. Do,
You know, just love people that are uninformed and stand in line.
what were you gonna do?
Challenge him to help you get more people in. I mean, that's part of our.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is,
And
you're limited in space, and if y'all are like us and you need to put something on sale, somebody sees it, they start hitting it, at 80, you gotta stop.
another deal,